Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you are well. It is Friday, the 21st of July, 2023. Welcome to Saorsa. My name is Mo. I'm a father of four, husband to one, and a lifelong campaigner for Scottish independence. I use the Saltire handle across several platforms, and I have banded together with some other activists online to create Saorsa, a collective of digital creators that all campaign for Scottish independence, and also those that gather around us and support us with likes and comments and things like that. Right, so on tonight's show, we are going to be discussing the unity in the independence movement, roots to independence, especially and specifically the Scottish Liberation movement, known as Liberation.scot on their website, and also we'll briefly touch on the Stirling Initiative as well. But before we begin, I'd like to set the context that we'll be having our discussion on. Independence is not for everyone. Some do not see the benefits of making our own decisions, managing our own wealth, creating our own country, making it better for everyone that lives here, without such laws from Westminster that circumvent all our wonderful democratic rights and living arrangements that we can have in our own country. For example, the Police, Crime and Sentencing Courts Act, which limits protesting and which was used by the Met to intervene with anti-monarchy protests before they happened during the coronation. Now, that doesn't happen up here in Scotland yet. You just don't know. Then we've got the Elections Act, which requires appropriate ID to prevent voter fraud, which was not really something that actually happens. I think something like there was less than a dozen cases of voter fraud one year. Then you've got the Internal Markets Act as well, basically weakening the ability for Scotland to legislate effectively on devolved matters. And that came into place after Brexit. These are all things, right? These are all things which Westminster's put in place that basically makes out that we're rubbish and we can't do it ourselves. And it's deliberately put in place to stop us from making our own decisions and moving forward as a nation. If you're content in remaining under the heel of an oppressive and increasingly right-wing government coming out of Westminster, ask yourself, are you happy leaving Scotland in this union and have your children growing up in it? I mean, that's one of the reasons I fight. I've got 4 kids. I don't want them living in a nation that relies upon decisions of politicians that I've not even voted for. It's not for me. Yeah, but Mo, the SNP have done a terrible job in Scotland and I would not want them to be running an independent Scotland. Such a naive thought process. If your only reason is to remain part of this union is a lame excuse about not liking the political party that is running Scotland, you should really have a word with yourself. Independence means the ability to choose the governments that are Scottish. Yes, the SNP will probably exist in some manner or form, but so will ALPA, so will the Greens, so will the ISP, so will a bunch of new parties as well. But these new parties will have different policies and different ideals, and we can vote for them. And that's something that we should really all be thinking about. And that's the context. It's that sort of whole fair and even playing field that I want to talk about everything tonight on. But before we begin, okay, we're going to do what we always do, which is have a little word of the week from one of the people that create with us.
Your Scots word of the week is cludgy, and this word comes from around the central belt. The word cludgy means toilet, and here's a wee example sentence. The wee lads got locked in the cludgy, which means the little boys got locked in the toilet.
The little boys got locked in the toilet. Sorry, I'm just replying to somebody. I can't type as fast anymore. Yes, so that was Blair, one of our amazing creators. We talk on Discord a lot. She is also on TikTok and on Instagram and a few other platforms as well. She made a whole series of words of the week for a Scottish words of the week. And usually when we have the panel on, I would be challenging them to say, hey, look, you've got to use the word cludgy in context at some point during the whole show tonight. So I'll use it, and you guys can use it in context as well in the side chat, and we'll come into the side chat later on as well with it all. So I'm waiting for Aaron to come on. He says he's going to be in tonight. We did speak on in the studio about, well, this digital studio thing about 10 minutes ago. He's away having his tea, so we'll bring him in when he comes in later on, which will be quite good. And let me have a quick look to see who we've got on out of regulars and things like that. I saw Druss earlier on. He's one of our supporters for Saorsa. Thank you, Druss. Hi, Jem. There's a lot of people as well that will just come up Facebook user. So anybody that's come up Facebook user, hiya, how are you doing? Because we are broadcasting on Independent Lives, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, and then Saorsa's YouTube and Facebook page as well. There's Helen Turner there. Hello, Helen. Thomas, thank you for coming. And Wayne and Vincent. Is that Vinny? It is Vinny. Good stuff. Mr. E. Listen, thank you everybody for coming in today. And there's Haldy as well. How you doing, Haldy? Thank you for coming and saying hello tonight as well, which is good. Right, so cludgy is meaning toilet, and I kind of always found it funny because it was used in context with Cludgy Stone, and Cludgy Stone being what we like to think was maybe the fake Stone of Destiny, and having Charlie using that in the coronation rather than the real Stone of Destiny, you know, which is quite funny. Cludgy, my cludgy broke down, so I'm peeing out the window. Druss, I hope that's not true. I hope it's not true at all. Right, so let's get on to the serious business of tonight. We've got 3 separate things that we're going to go through. The first one is about, it's about the elephant in the room, and that's a bit about unity to do with things. So I'm going to play this video just now, and that's Aaron just come into the green room as well. So let me play this quick video just now, and I'll be back in 1 minute and 40 seconds with Aaron to chat about unity as well.
There is a massive elephant in the independence room that needs to be addressed. I am not the one to address it, but I will put it out there. Our revolution, our movement, is an impossible task as long as we remain fractured. The case for independence is clear, the benefits unfounded, but as long as we remain at odds with each other, we shall never succeed. Political hegemony and individual ego will push back the cause, and until those that cannot see the damage they do with their own personal anger at their own comrades, we shall always remain stagnant. Let me say that the true revolutionary is guided by a great feeling of love. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolutionary lacking this quality. Our movement is bound to fail if it does not succeed in reaching deep and changing, stirring the people right down to the bone and giving them back their stature as sovereign Scots. I support all routes to independence, political, civic, international, as we need to fight this war on many fronts. And the only way to do this is by uniting behind the collective banner of achieving independence, and not pointing the finger at our brothers and sisters.
There we go. Oh, I'll join you for a wee drink there as well there, Aaron. Glad to have you here, Aaron.
Glad to be here, Mo, as always.
Good, good. Unity, that's what we're going to talk about just now. I've got a wee bit of a soliloquy that I need to speak first of all, just to set the tone of what we're going to talk about, and then we can have a wee chat together about it. And then we'll also have a wee chat with everybody in the side chat too there. So listen, I'm very much about unity. I can understand why people start screaming and shouting about ALPA, about SNP, about ISP, about Greens, and all their social differences as well. But we have to remember, we were all united in 2014 under the whole premise of fighting for independence, to be there for everyone and to do the right thing. So I need to ask you, this is a question I'm going to ask everybody in the side chat here who's watching, and Aaron as well. Okay, do you want independence? That's the first thing. Okay, and do you want independence so much that you're willing to put these differences aside and to work as a collective, regardless whether that person votes for a different political party from you? You know, it's what's more important, to say that your political daddy's bigger than my political daddy? Is that what it's about? Or is it more important to just think of the bearings and think of the future of our country and say to yourselves, listen, we need to do this. We need to get together and we need to push forward as a collective. Listen, just because you want independence and you want to push forward with it and you disagree with the SNP, or you disagree with ALPA, or you disagree with the Greens, or you disagree with any of the laws and things like that, that's fine. You can still be critical of these people. You can still turn around and want to have that debate. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. But we can't let that interfere with moving forward as a country. We just can't let that happen. Our independence campaign needs to be one policy: just get independence. We just have to do that. I didn't even write all that, by the way. I had a whole different thing I was going to speak to you about there, but I just had to speak from the heart there. Aaron, how do you feel about these sort of things, mate?
You see, as soon as Alex Salmond went away and formed the ALBA party, I knew that something was going to go wrong, for the simple fact of it was just going to divide people. And I was like, this is a bad idea. They obviously still support independence.
Yeah.
Pardon me, it's now at the point where there's political point scoring. Against who? Do you know what I mean? They set out to do the same thing, yet they're still trying to harm each other.
Yeah.
In some form or another, and it is the stupidest thing ever. If they could all, there's actually plenty of political parties that support independence. 90% of them are in the Scottish Parliament, if you know what I mean. They're on the ballot paper, but they're not big enough to get into the Scottish Parliament because, well, it's like there's a political party, Rise. It's Tommy Sheridan's party, or he's in the party, and they're not big enough. The Scottish Socialist Party, things like that, they're not very big enough to take on something like the SNP. That's 70,000 to 100,000 members.
So the whole thing about trying to get positions within Holyrood is that it's difficult to get it on the list because of the strength of the SNP, although that kind of might be a little bit waning now. But it's the whole idea of the list. And if people are unfamiliar of how the Scottish voting system works, I'm quite happy, and I might do this next time we do a live stream. I'll do a whole section specifically about how the D'Hondt system works in a calculation, because not a lot of people understand it. And when we voted for SNP, both votes SNP back in 2021, I didn't do that because I knew that the strength of the SNP in the constituencies would end up meaning that they might get a massive vote share in the list, but that, because of the way it's calculated, means that it wouldn't translate into a lot of seats. The only time that's happened was in I can't remember, the election that they sent like a whole bunch of people that basically they ended up, it was the one that Alex Salmond won that led us to get the 2014 referendum, because we had so many people and it was the first time we actually had an overall majority, the SNP. And that was golden, absolutely golden. But the D'Hondt system is specifically created, and the calculation is specifically created to allow other parties to get in. So Alapa were right, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, they were right in saying if you gave your second vote to a party that did not have any constituency seats, they would have come in. And I did the calculations myself, and then you would have ended up, if let's say if everybody put their votes into Green or into ISP or into Alapa, it doesn't matter which one, it would have been the same result, because you would have ended up with about 32 extra bums on seats for independence parties on the list, and that would have pushed out 32 unionists, which is such a shame. It really, really is. But I think I'll do that because it's a bit of a boring subject, I'll be perfectly honest, Aaron. You okay, mate?
That is just scratching my eyelid.
No problem. I've got everything you said there is right. When Alex left the party, and then when Alapa formed, it was, as far as I was concerned, I thought this is a great idea. Let's take, if the SNP would just take everybody off the list, and then we all voted for another independence party, I don't think that we would have been in the same position of animosity. I feel that a lot of the people that would have voted SNP1 and then any other indie perhaps maybe felt a little let down.
The only sorry for talking to you, Mimo.
Okay.
The only problem with Alba is that it's the same reason that I know so many people because of they didn't like Alex Salmond, and I'm like,
yeah,
it has nothing to do with Alex Salmond, and that's why a lot of people didn't vote for Alba. It's because they just cannot stand Alex Salmond.
Let me stop you for a second. You sound like a robot in my ears just now. I just want to see if anybody else that's watching just now, does Aaron sound clear to you guys, or is it just my headphones? Just put a wee note in the side chat. Carry on, Aaron. Just now, it's just in case if it's my headphones, that's cool. If everybody else can hear you clear as day, that's cool.
It's people cannot stand Alex Salmond. My granny forever has hated Alex. My both grannies have hated Alex Salmond. People just won't vote for him, and that's how the SNP look. Just people aren't the big fans of the SNP because he was in it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But one person is not the party.
This is very true. Very true.
You know?
Listen, I'm going to ask you to do me a wee favour. Can you stop in and out again? Because some people say that you're sounding a bit metallic. I can hear you sounding a bit metallic as well. Some people go and say it again, then I just speak again, then I just testing your microphone there.
Hello?
No, you sound like a robot to me in my ear. Go in and out just now. I'll bring you back in a second. Once you've done that, that's cool. No, he's absolutely right. It's I just don't. I understand why people are frustrated. I really, really do. And it's a lot of hardliners, independence people. I consider myself to be a hardliner as well. And I feel let down by the whole situation, to be perfectly honest. I'm a card carrying member of the SNP. I would vote for the biggest indie party in the constituencies and any other indie that is available that's going to basically have the greatest chance of usurping a list seat of a unionist. The long and short of it. Let's see if Aaron sounds a bit better now. Hello.
Does it sound better?
Oh God, not to me. But if it sounds okay with everybody else, Okay, that's cool. It's quite fun. I don't know why that is now. Did you wipe your eyelid on your microphone when you were
No.
like that later on? Cool.
No, I don't think my eyelid's that big.
No problem. Right, listen. There was a really good article about what we were talking about a few weeks ago, maybe actually a couple of months ago, in the National by Kelly Given, who's one of their columnists there. I'm going to read out the pertinent chunk of stuff that was in that article, because I think it's important that, you know, this, I mean, people do feel this way. So here we go. The independence movement has undoubtedly fragmented in the 9 years since the referendum. I've often said that separation across the movement was inevitable post-2014. We found ourselves in a situation then that to anyone with political insight had very limited longevity. People flocked to the SNP en masse, and the uniting prospect behind that support was singular, and that singular aspect was independence for Scotland. Half the country supports independence, which means that support transcends demographics as well as political preferences. We unite under one theme back then, but it was always only a matter of time before the political differences within the movement began to show and subsequently branch off. Like any other political issue, independence looks different to different people, and we all don't support it. We all support it for different reasons. If we are to achieve it, we have to grasp those differences and take them with us, or we're not going to win. I fear that in the more recent times, we've become too focused on the issues that we are divided on. That's so important to me there. I want to say it again. I fear that in more recent times, we have become too focused on the issues we are divided on and forgotten what the dream that united us was 10 years ago. Regardless of your political beliefs, and independence, there's this independence movement should be on one single policy, and that's to get independence done. And then see, after we're independent, that's when we can turn around and settle our differences and move forward in a positive way, in a democratic way, and vote for whatever parties best suit us. But we need to get independence first. Anything to say on that, Aaron, before we move on to our next little bit, which is about Liberation.scot?
That's exactly what I've been thinking. Why can they not just shut up?
Yeah, I think we should take our differences and just flush it down the cludgy. Oh, yeah, see what I did there?
He's done it.
Yeah.
I
Flush
used
them
it
down the
earlier.
cludgy.
That's one of my favourite words. I absolutely love it. It's so funny.
Let's play the next video.
So, you want independence, but you just can't see how the political route will deliver it. You see the SNP telling you to vote for them, Alapa saying the same, and then all...
Right, I'm going to stop that for a second there, because I'm getting that coming through as robotic, the video as well. So we're going to do a quick test here just now. I can see that we've got a bunch of people in both Facebook and also in YouTube. So I'm going to ask everybody in Facebook, can you hear everything clear as day? Yeah? If you can, that's cool. So give me a yes if you can. And then everybody that's in YouTube, can you hear it fine? Because I'll just play the video again. It might just be me, right? So we're getting, yeah, everybody's hearing it fine across in Facebook. Amazing. That's amazing. That's cool. Brilliant. YouTubers, people watching in YouTube, can you hear it all fine as well? Because I'll go back and play it, and I'll just take my headphones off because I can't stand the sound of it. Yeah, Vinny, you hear it fine. Brilliant. Okay, right. Let's just go and start that video again, and we'll be right back.
So, you want independence, but you just can't see how the political route will deliver it. You see the SNP telling you to vote for them, Alapa saying the same, and then all the political entities tearing strips of each other, making the whole movement look quite unattractive. Parts of our independence movement can come across as inward-looking, toxic and quite exhausting. If only there was another option that transcended politics and put emphasis on a people's movement. Perhaps a liberation movement that, if enough Scots joined, could take our voice to the international stage and leave the political entities just squabbling. Well, there is, and you can join it by going to Liberation.scot and signing the Edinburgh Proclamation. Listen, by signing this, you're not giving up your political allegiances. You can still go back and fight with Alapa or the SNP. It just means that you are serious about independence and you are willing to travel every road to get there. I signed up. I believe it's the best way forward right now. So what have you got to lose? Go to Liberation.scot, sign up, come back here, tell us that you've signed, and share this to all your platforms to tell everyone there is another way.
There you go. So, Liberation.scot. This is one of the, if we take it on the back of what we were saying about unity and doing something else and, you know, rising above the political differences, this is it. This is one of them. Who are they? They're an incredible bunch of creative, intelligent, academic individuals that have put together a movement where they want to take us to the UN and International Court of Justice. You need to go and visit their website, Liberation.scot. That is the place to go to sign up to what is called the Edinburgh Proclamation. And the Edinburgh Proclamation is basically a nice little document. It's right on the front page when you go to it, and it explains about Scottish sovereignty and the intentions of a liberation movement. And I signed up to it months ago, and it's something that I firmly believe in and I've constantly campaigned for. This is people like Sarah Sawyers and everybody that she works with that has put this together. And it's definitely something that if you've not heard of it or if you've not signed up to it, you should. Because why not? You know, why wouldn't you? Because you believe in the SNP, because you believe in Alapa. No, you need to move away from that. You need to start thinking about moving in a direction where we can take something else and use that as well. You know, there's a lot of people from Facebook saying howdy and hello and things like that. It just comes up Facebook user. So don't know if you're the same person that's doing it, but hiya, nice to see you. Thank you for saying hello. Liberation.scot, the liberation movement. Aaron.
It's a very smart idea because, well, the Scottish Government are going to go to Westminster and ask for a Section 30, or it doesn't matter what they do. They will be blocked, they'll be vetoed, they'll be, blocked and vetoed are the same thing, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. They'll just be shut down, they'll be cast aside. They can instantly clip the Scottish Government's wings by taking away their budget in the Treasury.
Yep.
There's already been talk of that in the papers.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that and I'm going, but is that a suicide for the British government, or is it going to really do the Scottish government? But then again, you never know. But I mean, I wouldn't like to sit here my entire life waiting for the Scottish government to get a Section 30, because it's never going to happen.
No, it's not. It's as far as I'm concerned, if you're playing by the rules of the oppressor, you'll never get anything. They can change the rules as they see fit. They can turn around and say, no, you can't have a Section 30. And they can keep saying that. You know, it doesn't matter about if it's democratic or not. It's their rules and they can change them. And we, unfortunately, in the political world, have to play by their rules. And that's the beauty of Liberation.scot. They don't have to play by the oppressor's rules. They play on the international stage. Once the liberation movement has gained credibility with a big chunk of people, basically what you've got to look for is a liberation movement to have credibility needs to have enough members that outweighs the largest political entity. So let's just say the SNP have got 90,000. The Liberation.scot would be looking for about 100,000, because that says, hey, look, we have a larger membership than than the political movement. Now, you can be a member of Liberation.scot and sign up to it and be a member of the SNP, the Greens, ALPA, ISP, whoever you want, even the Tories, if you want to be. I mean, there's got to be Conservative members out there that want independence. There must be. Okay, I can tell by that face it might not be. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about taking it to a different step, you know? And that's just it. Wayne, you were talking about you'd signed up to ages ago, but you've not heard back. Check your junk mail. Check your, because the whole system is geared up for when you sign up, you will get a confirmation email. If you've not received your confirmation email, maybe contact them directly. There's a link on the Salvo website, as well as the Liberation.scot, for contacting them and say, look, can you check to see if you have my details? If not, just sign up again, I guess. Wouldn't do any harm, I guess. Let's have a look what else people say. Yeah, Helen, you're already signed up to Salvo and Liberation.scot. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with signing up to both. They're both, Salvo is the campaigning wing of Liberation.scot. So these things are, it's just something else, isn't it? That's what you got to look at. You can't put all your eggs in one basket here. You have to understand our history, understand our constitution, which is what Salvo did, and what Liberation.scot will be pushing, on the international stage as well. But yeah, that's the way to go with it. What have I got written in my notes? Because we seem to be going. Yeah, they've just actually put out a leaflet, a digital leaflet, a nice one. I'm going to bring that up on the screen just now for us to look at. Here it is here. Don't know if you'll be able to see it if you're looking on a phone. I actually have all the text of that written out, so I'm going to go through it all line by line just now. And we'll discuss each line as it comes through. So the first line says, Scotland has been in the Union for over 300 years. In that 300 years, in that time, Scotland's population fell from 20% of the population of England and Wales to just 8.1%. That's a drop of 12% thereabouts of our population. You would think that in a modern society with everything, our population would have grown, but it didn't. So in that time again, Scotland has had the lowest life expectancy of all the UK countries. Wonder why that is. In that time, hundreds of thousands of Scots have fought and died in UK wars, the highest proportion of any other UK nation. In that time, between 3 and 4 million Scots have been forced into immigration, the largest population loss in Western Europe for a country of Scotland's size. In that time, our written constitution, which guaranteed the sovereignty of the people over the monarch or government, has been replaced with an unwritten English constitution, which sets the monarch and the parliament over the people. In that time, our Scots language has been removed, our culture suppressed, and our history hidden and misrepresented. In that time, Scotland's international trade has plummeted, and our shipbuilding industry, once the greatest in the world, has been destroyed. In that time, our vast resources of oil, gas, and renewables have been stolen to bail out the UK and give tax cuts for the rich, leaving nothing for our people. In that time, our land has been sold off to the foreign corporations for profit. In that time, Scotland has become the dumping ground for nuclear weapons and nuclear waste. And in that time, we were dragged from the EU when every Scottish region voted to remain. The Union is a lie invented to justify the colonisation of Scotland. You cannot leave a union that does not exist. You cannot opt out of annexation and tyranny. Our Scottish political parties have tried and failed to find the way to do that. Now, the people will take over from here. Oofty. Great words. You've got to love that. You know?
See, when you were saying that, it is mental to think that England is 10 times the population.
Yep.
Now, people are going to think, oh, it's anti-English, this movement. It's not. We don't care. But the point is that the government of England has continuously through, even when I say the government, I mean originally it was obviously the King, and then it's been Parliament. They've been trying to bring Scotland under their boot for centuries upon centuries upon centuries.
We are
It was
under
Edward
the
the First, then it was Cromwell. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously we signed in the Union. But the Union has just been brought into a process of colonisation. If you look, they use Scotland to make their big empire, and then when their empire came crashing down, Scotland was dropped. Do you know what I mean? Scotland was dropped like it was a mouldy strawberry or something. Try to think of something that somebody would drop, you know? When you look at it, it was like Clydebank in the west, the western part of Glasgow, was where companies built ocean liners.
Yep, they did.
Do you know? There was docks all through the city. I'm using the Clyde as a great example because there was 40 shipyards on the Clyde. There wasn't just one or two, there was 40. And there was at least 100,000 worked on the shipyards. But then, I know all this because I'm from Glasgow, right? Just leave, this is my main thing. We built all our own trams. There's a bus and truck an old bus and truck factory still in Scotstoun on South Street. We had the first engine, locomotive and carriage works in the world in Springburn.
Really?
It's just spare land now, but it's there, you know, and it's like Scotland itself had so much industry, and now it's gone.
It's true.
There's like hardly anything. Do you know what I mean? There's
had a great industry. Even if you go back into what I remember, our mining industry, I mean, that had to change, but it didn't have to change in the way that it happened, Aaron, you know, as well. So we've been like
the mining, the collapse of mining in Britain was too quickly.
Yeah.
It was like it was standing on one pillar, and people like Margaret Thatcher just came in and just went with a hammer and just took it right out. And that snookered a lot of people. They created their own problem because they wanted to bring down government spending, but then they snookered people out of jobs. So they ended up, if they couldn't get another job, well, they ended up so mass unemployed that people were going to end up on benefits. So they just created their own problem.
We did. We had an interesting question from Cameron. I'll bring it back up on the screen here just now. What does signing up to Liberation.scot do? Well, it goes back to creating the liberation movement, Cameron. This is a way to demonstrate that we have a credible liberation movement. By signing the Edinburgh Proclamation, you're saying, I want to be part of this. And then it gets, like with anything you sign up to, you can opt in and out of receiving a newsletter. But you're putting your name to say, hey, I want to be counted as part of this. And they're looking for around about 100,000 people to sign this. I don't know how many they've got just now, but they did have a chunk when I first signed up to it. So I think it's important to know what you're signing up to, and you're signing up to being part of the liberation movement to demonstrate your loyalty and fealty to independent Scotland, to be a sovereign Scot and say, I want my independence, which is very important indeed. Now, going back to the mining thing as well, Margaret Thatcher, from what I read and understood back then, was she I'm not condoning her, I'm not saying that she did the right thing at all, but it was all one of the reasons that she quickly moved to slow down the production of coal and put miners in a position where they were going to lose their jobs, was because Britain wasn't going to be able to compete with the production of coal in like places like China and India.
we import a lot of coal. Well, we did. Interrupting, sorry.
No, on you go.
When I was in high school, we used to go to Millport every year, and you used to see this, and I mean, this thing was like one of these big container ships. It was full of coal. It was the coal terminal doing it, Hunterston Power Station. And that would go into a train to Longannet Power Station in Fife, which actually used to pass by my house. The train's gone to Longannet.
Mental.
Used to see them, and I was like, I wonder where they're gone. They used to go to Longannet, and then they stopped because they obviously shut Longannet down. Because, well, we don't use coal anymore.
No, we don't. You've had an interesting life having all this stuff, and you retain a lot of knowledge for your young years, sir. You are a font of knowledge indeed. Another good question from Patricia there. I think it would be important for people to know the membership. Now, when you do sign up to Liberation.scot, you have an option to go and find the local Salvo hub. There's Facebook hubs geographically located all over Scotland for you to help campaign with and things. And you just have to go into Facebook and look up Salvo hubs, and you'll find your local one there, which is really important. Somebody's also asked how, well, Vinny's turned around and said they'll get 100,000 signatures, then take that to the International Court of Justice. And somebody said how from there. So basically, the question that you would want to ask for a liberation movement is, it'll be through the United Nations. You become a credible liberation movement, and then you can, once you have that credibility under the banner of the United Nations, you can then go to the International Court of Justice and ask the question, are we a union of equals? Okay, and that can be taken to court because of the because it is a union, alleged union of equals. It is an international treaty between two separate countries, the Treaty of Union and then the Acts of Union. These are international treaties, and if two countries are not living up to either end of the treaty the way that it was supposed to be, then that's when you have that questionable thing, and that's what the International Court of Justice is there for, to discuss, to take that and to be able to help facilitate and answer that question. Now, if they turn around and say, no, you're not in a union of equals, then we have our independence. We can move forward and basically then ask the people of Scotland, hey, do you want to be independent? Or if they turn around and say, yes, you are in a union of equals, we can then say, hey, Scotland, do you want to have a vote? Because we're in a union of equals and we shouldn't be suppressed for that at all. But if we do become a facilitated and recognizable liberation movement, which it is as far as I'm concerned, okay, you can then start looking at things like observer state status and stuff as well. But that's far down the field for it all. But these are just like little tidbits. There's a lot more information on the Liberation.scot website for you to go and have a wee read of and stuff like that as well. It's worthwhile doing. And you know something? It's your signature. You're just signing up to something. It's not like they're taking your bank details and stealing your money or anything like that. Not like the union does, you know. But there you go. Right. So Liberation.scot. I would highly recommend people going to there and signing up to it, because the more people that we get signing up to it, the quicker we get the people necessary to start thinking about going to the UN and taking that question, which is pretty good. Right, we're almost done. One more little subject to touch on, one more video to play here just now, and this one is about the Stirling Directive.
On this date, Saturday, the 22nd of July, 1706, the Treaty of the Union was signed, and Scotland became an annexed territory of England. For 317 years, the Union has made Scotland subordinate to England as Britain. For 317 years, the Union has dictated that Scotland's affairs be managed for the benefit of a British ruling elite and not in the interests of Scotland's people. For 317 years, the Union has required that the people of Scotland be denied knowledge of their sovereignty and the rights and powers that this entails. For 317 years the Union has made Scotland less than it might be. On this date, Saturday the 22nd of July 2023, we say enough. On this date, we say the Union must end. On this date, we say that Scotland's independence must be restored. On this date, we demand an end to more than 3 centuries of subjugation, suppression, and deprivation. On this date, we shall gather as sovereign Scots outside the Holyrood Parliament and make our voices be heard.
Oof day. Yeah, it's quite tingly, a tingly feeling there. Right, so the Stirling Directive. Okay, so 317 years ago tomorrow, the Union came into existence and Scotland started 317 years of exploitation at the hands of our alleged partners in this union of equals. So tomorrow, a group of writers, speakers and activists from across Scotland's independence movement will launch a new national campaign with a very different approach. Okay, one that does not ask permission of anyone. Instead, it affirms the sovereignty of Scotland's people, upholds the constitution settlement of the Union, and requires political recognition of the lawful Scottish constitution, and will pursue our inalienable right of self-determination as guaranteed under international law. Those words I've just read there are from the Salvo website, who are sponsoring this initiative. And quite frankly, these words are exactly how I personally feel about things. It's about time we stopped playing and started doing. It's a time that we had something that we could all rally behind. And if you want to continue your squabbling, like we talked about at the start of tonight's show, about which political party has the biggest daddy, like I said earlier, then so be it. But you're truly wasting your energy. You ought to be campaigning for every independence initiative that calls out the Union, and this is one of them. You know, I'm hoping to get to the press conference tomorrow. I'm on the list. I just need a babysitter. I just have to wait to see if my mum will come round and look after my youngest. But I won't know until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But I will be at the rally tomorrow at 3 o'clock outside Holyrood. I think it's important to get there. I think it's important to get there for it all. And this is just something else. This is something, publicly stating what the liberation movement's about as well. And it's just something that we can rally behind as a whole. What do you think about it, Aaron?
Well, I can't wait for the liberation movement to just take off, and I can't wait to see what this is about tomorrow. Well, it has took off, but really, really took off. 50,000 to 100,000 and above, I mean, we're a nation of 5 million. There's got to be at least 1 to 2 million people that support independence. Mm-hmm. Even people that don't stay in Scotland to support independence. I know a few. And I have actually English friends that have turned around and says, we want you to be independent. We support it. And it sounds great. But I'm going to be very pernickety here, by the way.
Go on.
And say it said 1706 in that video. That's only when England's Parliament ratified that's when they ratified the Act of Union a year before we did in the Scottish Parliament.
That's true.
I'm just sorry. I was like, no.
No, listen, you can be pernickety all you like. It's. We'll just say it's 317 years tomorrow, all right?
It's still 317 years, whether it's the same day or no. But it's they were ready for that before we were. But they placed troops at our border, and believe it or not, the Tory party themselves, the actual Tory party, the predecessor to the current Tories, they didn't actually want the Union, which is weird, because they made a lot of money with it. They were the part of the aristocracy. Do you know what I mean?
There you go. Madness.
I'm just jibbing.
On you go.
No, I was just saying I'm just gibbering now.
No, you're allowed to gibber. You're good at gibbering. It's a professional trait of yours. Yeah, so there was a wee question there. Is it from? Is it the liberation movement that's wasting our energy? I just want to put some context on this, Connie, if you can, just so I understand what it means, because I'm a card carrying holder for the SNP. I've voted for SNP all my life. I've never given the SNP my second vote on the list seats, but it's just in case you were commenting on somebody else and I missed it. It's just so I understand. I don't feel that pushing forward with a different route would be damaging. I think it would be liberating, perhaps a little bit, for some people to understand the different sort of routes that we can take for independence. I can understand why some people will feel that it's damaging the independence movement, but I think we need to take as many different avenues to achieve the goal as possible and support each other with all these avenues to make it work. But please tell me if I've misunderstood what you were saying. All right, okay, cool. Thank you, Connie. I didn't understand. I must have missed the conversation going further up. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yes, absolutely. It wasn't a comment at me. Let me just put that up there just now as well. It was just to other people that attacked other indie parties. Yeah, this is the whole context of tonight. It's been very much about unity and things that can bring unity together. And yeah, going back again to what Connie's saying there as well. I am saying your name correctly, Connie. I'm there. I don't know. Does it got the sound at the end there? You can tell me another time. It's all cool.
It's a belter name.
Fantastic. I love the spelling. The whole aspect of infighting. If we go back to the article that I read from the National, it was going to be a matter of time for the political ideologies to fracture and splinter and start arguing amongst themselves. But the one thing that transcends all that and unites us all is the same energy from 2014 that's still lying, that's latently lying there within us all. And we just don't have anything to direct that energy upon. You know, we can be part of Liberation.scot and be SNP, be Alapa, be Green. We can be part of the Yes movement and still be all these things, because an independent Scotland and the fight for independence is something that transcends the yellow of the SNP, the blue of Alapa, and the green of the Greens. It's something that is far more important than any political entity puts together. You know, it's really important, and that's really how I feel about it all. For it all, I don't criticize openly any of the SNP leaders, politicians, the Alapa's leaders. I just don't see the benefit in doing any of that at all, because it doesn't do anything apart from cause division, animosity, and a bit of hate. Don't like it. The fight that we need to be fighting is against Westminster, and that is where we should have our focus, because once we're independent, we can then go back to calling each other names. We can start going back and giving each other all the horrible posts that we do and all the rest of it. But we need to, right now more than any time, we really need to unite. But I look out into the field of independence and think to myself, are the personalities, the leaders that we had between 2014 and now, are any of them, do they have what it takes to unite Scotland? Who is there? We need to find somebody. We can't find a somebody. We need to find a cause. We need to take people from the grassroots movement and elevate them to speak on our behalf. You know, take the message of Liberation.scot, the Stirling Directive. You know, there's a few other things out there as well, which we'll talk about next time we're on. take these things and make people aware of them. You know, it's really important. Really, really important. We're coming up to the end. We're 55 minutes in. I can't believe that. That's mental. Got anything you want to add before I start doing my wrapping up and shouting out for people?
No, we've got a comment, funnily enough, that says, so we're meant to say nothing about popular sovereignty and then let parliamentary sovereignty, independence go through and make a complaint afterwards. Well, see, no really. But, well, this is what I'm gathering, and for what I've been told, is that when we go to the United Nations, it will resume our old system where popular sovereignty exists, because our current Scottish Parliament has just been opened as Parliament under the parliamentary sovereignty system, whereas our Scottish Parliament does not have the Westminster system. It's, I can't remember what they call it. It's popular sovereignty anyway. And once they do that, they'll put us into observer status, and we can gain control of all our taxation and all our resources. So we'll see who's really got all the money in the union. We'll still be in the union, but of course,
we'll be in the union with observer status. If we with observer status, you're right, we do gain control of our resources and our taxation, and then that will show exactly how the books have been turned round and doctored big time from it all. But nah, let's focus. We need to focus on the task at hand, which is getting there. And if Liberation.scot's part of that route, let's do it. If the Edinburgh Proclamation, when you sign that, is part of that, let's do it. If the Stirling Directive that launches tomorrow is part of that, go with it and run with it. Tell the world, tell everybody. You should be the thing that we've got, okay, that a lot of other movements don't have, is you guys that are watching this. We had, like, at one point we had 61 people watching this earlier on. Okay, now if every one of those people shared this video across their social media, okay, they're going to be having overlapping circles of people watching this and learning about what's going on in Scotland to all over the world, and they can't stop that. You know, the mainstream media might be attacking us here, but they can't stop the message getting out. They have algorithms that suppress it, but they can't stop it. It will still leak through. So the biggest thing that all you guys can do out there, everything that you do out there, all right, is share all the stuff that independence creators do on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. You should be sharing something different every single day across your social media, because the more you share, the more people learn the truth, and the more people learn the truth, they start to ask questions, and the more questions that they ask will bring people to the cause, because they start to understand what's going on. Down the bottom there just now, there is a little thing talking about Saorsa, because Saorsa, that is who we are. I started off as the Saltire. That was me on my own. For about, well, I started it in 2016. I just kind of wrote stuff on Instagram, and then moved into different sort of fields and met a whole bunch of really cool energy-filled creators from across TikTok and YouTube and things. And then we secured a nice little place here, Independence Live, to go out and do things. But Saorsa is not a political party. We don't have an agenda other than independence. We will support every single possible route to independence and make content for it with passion and energy, and then we just basically plug that out across every single social media platform we can. So if you're a creator, if you're somebody that wants to create or does create, you know, there's an email address there. It's info@saorsascot.com. Send an email to us. I'll get my guys to come and follow you. We'll start sharing your stuff as well. Come and be part of Saorsa. It's just a positive entity. We are if you go back to one of the videos, like a revolutionary, has to have love, for their fellow rebels, than their country and their cause. They have to have that. Otherwise, what's the point, really, at the end of the day? info@Saorsa.scot.com. Get in touch. It'd be great to have some of you. That's us for the night, mate. I'm going to see you hopefully in the Discord in 5 minutes or something.
Yes.
That would be great. So I'm going to wrap up. I'll let you get away because I'm going to have to take off all my videos off the Independence Live software just now so somebody else can get into it to use it tomorrow. But thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight, Aaron. It's been a pleasure having you.
Aye, it's good to sit and jibber on the internet and have people listen to me jibber.
Yeah, usually we just switch you off on Discord.
I know, people mute me, like Barry.
Like Barry, we love Barry.
Just like that. Bye!
Brilliant. Listen, thank you very much. I'll see you in Discord, mate. I'm going to speak to the audience and wrap up for the night. So yeah, finish up with a couple of little shout outs for various organizations. The first one is the most important one in my opinion, and that is the Chain of Freedom. Okay, I'm going to put down there just now a little link to them, www.chainoffreedom.scot. Oh dear, he's still on the mic. I'll mute his mic. Right, so yeah, so chainoffreedom.scot. If you have not signed up to Chain of Freedom, this is something that is utterly epic. There's going to be a human chain going right across the central belt of Scotland in October. Starting just up the road from where I stay in Edinburgh, right the way across to Glasgow. And of course, it could be starting in Glasgow and coming all the way to Edinburgh, just depending where you feel the starting point is. Don't want to cause any problems between Salt and Vinegar City and Salt and Sauce City. Okay, so get yourself signed up to it. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's pouring rain, if it's dreaching horrible. Get yourself signed up to it. Get your family signed up to it. Get as many other people. And if you're going to plug any independence initiative between now and October, Chain of Freedom is the one to do it. If you're going to be doing something once a week, just plug that on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your Instagram stories. Just take the link and do it all the time. All the time, because once is not enough, 10 times is not enough. Okay, I make videos for Chain of Freedom and stick them on my TikTok and various places as often as I can. It is so important. This is something that will give so much international attention to our cause. It's unbelievable. And if you're from a yes group and you're not part of the Chain of Freedom, you need to go there even more. That is so important. So important. The next thing is the All Under One Banner team. That some people think that, it's Alba under one banner. No, it's not. I've been going to their marches since the beginning, and it's everybody that goes there. Okay, now they get some stick from doing things, but they are brilliant at organizing stuff, and their marches are always vibrant, fun, shouty. I go down with my bullhorn. I've got a microphone that sits on my ear, and I get the crowd going, smiling and waving. And some of my videos, in fact, in the video that you saw as our intro, everybody that's waving, that's me shouting at them. A bunch of positive people watching that. It's really good fun. All their marches, you need to go to their Facebook page. You will see all the dates for their marches. There's one in October, the Edinburgh one. I'll be going to that. And then you've got the Believe in Scotland march as well in September. I'm going to be going to that too, which is really important. Then our website, Saorsascot.com. You will find blogs, videos, vlogs, what else? Podcasts, everything. We do everything. A whole bunch of stuff going on. And we're growing slowly but surely. We've got a bunch there. I've got another blog from a friend down in Wales that I've got to post up there today. If you write info@Saorsascot.com, if you want to make a podcast with us or got an idea for one, we can hook up on the internet, record it, and get it up there. If you want to come and do anything with us, info@Saorsascot.com. Come and find us. Yeah, because we're always looking for cool independence creators that just want independence. I think that's us. Listen, thank you, everybody. Wayne, you've had a lot of really good comments tonight. Thank you for that. Patricia, thank you for joining in. And if it was Connie, thank you very much. And there's Banzai. I didn't have a chance to say hiya to you, mate. Thank you for joining us. I always like it when I see your name come up. What else? Who else is there? Helen, Cameron. I'm just going to go through every Facebook users, the millions, well, the millions, the many Facebook users that didn't have their names come up. Listen, thank you for being anonymous and posting. It's been great. Listen, if I've not said anything, Mr. E, who's that? PEEM1244. Thank you very much. Kenneth Little. Everybody, if I've not, Dave, there you are. Hope to see you in Discord as well, Dave. I'm going to head across to our Discord just now because that's where we hang out and talk independence after hours. Let me just say thank you to everybody that joined us tonight. Really, really thank you very much. And we'll be back in 2 weeks, if not a week. I'm going to try and eventually get every week to this. It just depends on family time and stuff. I can definitely put a show together every 2 weeks. But yeah, come and say hello to us. And if you want to find any more of our stuff, just come to the website, go to the links, look at the team page, and you'll see all the people and all their links to all their socials as well. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight, and we'll be back 2 weeks' time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and good luck.